Hi, this is John Kohler with OKRAW.com. Today we have another exciting episode for you. In this episode, we'll be doing a Q&A, answering your guys' questions. I apologize, I'm unable to answer any questions directly that you may ask me on different social media accounts or whatever, because there's only one of me and I have over 1 million followers on all my different social media outlets. But if you do have a question you'd like to get answered, you could post it down below on my YouTube community tab. There's a post there, just post it there, and then I will consider it to answer in next month's Q&A. So just a quick introduction in case you guys don't know who I am. My name is John Kohler and I've been eating a raw, plant-based diet, predominantly fruits and vegetables, since 1995 for all these years now. And more recently, I'm really getting into promoting diversity for better microbiome, gut health, and also I really am into getting you guys to process your food in the best ways possible. I mean, keeping your food raw is definitely important, but there are other factors you should consider when processing your food, whether it's with a juicer or a blender or any kind of cooking appliance that I have other videos on. In any case, let's get into this month's Q&A. First question is a long one and it's a doozy. User CS1XZ, John, why do you think people who have eaten a plant-based diet, no oil, low fat, whole food, lots of raw, get cancer? Gene mutations maybe, not breastfed as children. I'm thinking of someone with stage 4 terminal, only 33 years old, doesn't use makeup or toxic cleaning products or skincare, non-drinker, non-smoker, etc. for their whole life, 18-year-old to current day 33-year-old. Makes me think, why do I even try when it sounds like you could get no matter how well you live? All right, well, that is a good question. I kind of think about that sometimes myself. And I wish I had an answer, because if I did, I'd probably be a billionaire or something telling everybody what exactly to do, right? So that being said, I have thought about it a lot. And, you know, here's the thing. Like, not all plant-based diets are equal. You know, you could eat white potatoes all day and be a high-starch diet and eat white potatoes and white rice. You eat very little vegetables, very little fruits, right? And bread and other things, and it wouldn't surprise me if somebody like that eating a low nutrient diet did get afflicted with some kind of disease. You know, number one, it's very limiting, which limits the amount of different foods and vitamins, minerals, phytochemicals, and different kinds of fiber you're getting in to feed your microbiome. So that is one point right there. So I want you guys to eat what's called a nutrient-dense plant-based diet, and this is basically based on Dr. Joel Fuhrman, who really kind of got me excited about this idea about eating very specific foods and eating nutrient-dense foods that are anti-disease. Yes, there are foods that are more anti-disease, and there are foods that are more pro-disease. I mean, pro-disease to me is like processed, salted meat products are highly pro-disease. But then even once again on my continuum that I like to talk about on my channel, I would definitely say white potatoes are, you know, less disease prone than processed meats, but not as disease preventative as purple potatoes due to the anthocyanin content. So that's why I strive to eat a nutrient dense diet with a lot of different colorful foods that contain phytonutrients. I mean, one of which I'm sitting in my garden is right here. I mean, look at this. This is a plant and it makes leaves you could eat that are purplish red because of the anthocyanin content. You know, you could eat a plant-based diet and you have an anthocyanin-rich poor diet, right? Eating bananas and romaine lettuce all day, right? Not going to get you many anthocyanins. You barely eat berries because they're too expensive, but you're eating plant-based, right? That's one thing that I believe may be a factor. Second thing I think may be a factor as well is how you process the food, right? If you cook your food, right? I mean, it's been shown in published scientific studies that certain methods of cooking food will create carcinogens in the food, guys. So, you know, heat processing your food can cause carcinogens. You know, if you fry your food, it's probably one of the worst ways you could heat process your food, especially at hot temperatures. Creates lots of different problems. Not to say that that is the cause, but once again, the situation is there are many risk factors out there, and most people think they're helpless and just, I'm not just gonna eat McDonald's because it's just gonna, whatever, I'm gonna get sick no matter what, right? Recommend a book, you know, How Not to Die, right? By Dr. Michael Greger. He's researched all this stuff, having proven scientific studies That being said, I think even what Dr. Michael Greger recommends could be improved upon, and that's what I try to share on my channel, because that's my journey, not only for cancer, but for any other disease as well, right? If you're eating a nutrient-depleted diet, right, your bodies don't have high levels of beta carotene, your skin doesn't turn orange or different colors, right? Because you have all the pigments inside you in excess, right? There are studies that show higher beta carotene, in your blood may help with breast cancer survivors, for example, live longer, right? So why wait to get breast cancer to get up your beta carotene levels in your blood, right? That's one of the reasons why I juice, because juicing specifically will get some of these phytonutrients and drive them in, more deeply and more effectively than eating the whole food can. So lots of things. And then let's not even talk about the microbiome. Like, I definitely believe there's a microbiome connection to your health. It's been researched that your microbiome can affect many different body and organ systems. And I mean, that's just a field that's just emerging and new science coming out. And it's not fully understood yet, but I definitely would encourage people to check out their microbiome and get their own microbiome test and see how you can improve your microbiome no matter wherever you're at. Of course, external toxins may play a factor as well. Also, your stress levels. I mean, you could have the most perfect diet and be stressed out all the time because your husband, your boyfriend, your husband or wife or whatever is just stressing you out, or your job stresses you out. Even though you eat the best diet in the world, right? You have too much stress. You don't get enough sleep. I mean, that's another thing, man. Sleep is critical, even more important than diet, man. So even if you're eating crappy, I don't care, man. Get like at least 8 hours a night, minimum 7, guys, and have regular sleep-wake cycles. Make sure your room is completely dark. I have a video down below. I'll link, that all the different tools I use to get better sleep at night. So there's a lot of more factors besides just diet. EMF radiation, are using a cell phone, and then you get, brain cancer. But I ate plant-based, but you're using your cell phone, dude, like 5 hours a day. You're getting radiated with that. I mean, in Europe, there's studies that show correlations between cancer and cell phone use, and then we can't even talk about Wi-Fi and 5G towers near us and all these kinds of things, right? So my goal is to eat a disease protective diet, and that's what I share on my channel. Not many other raw vegans get into the stuff this deep, especially some of the cruciferous vegetables that some raw food camps seem to leave out, are highly anti-cancer, as well as things like garlic and onion, highly anti-cancer. Sprout your own broccoli, just, soak broccoli seeds overnight and then just eat them. You'll still get the sulforaphane, isothiocyanates in there, and they're so good for you, right? So once again, I want you guys to diversify your diet, pay particular attention to how you process your food. Regarding diet, check your microbiome and eat for your gut buddies instead of against them and how you think you should eat, and not even take into consideration your gut buddies and how they will greatly affect your health. They're 70% of your immune system that will help you fight off diseases. And if you have a healthy gut microbiome, I believe that you will have a stronger immune system. Of course, being breastfed as a child is actually quite important, as also how you are raised when you're a kid. Even if you start eating plant-based and high nutrient-dense diet later in life, some of the things I've heard in the past is that cancer could grow and start growing in small amounts when you're younger, and kind of be a seed that has not yet grown and doesn't come active until you're more mature and older. So it's not just what you're doing now, but it's also how was your health, how was your diet, how was your living situation, your stress, your sleep when you were a child. It is all connected. So, you can't change your past, but you can change your future. So that's why I recommend, the books by Dr. Michael Greger and Dr. Joel Fuhrman that really get into this. Also, you can look up Dr. Lee. I'll put links down below in my Amazon shop to the book section, where I'll have videos on eating to prevent disease. It's a very important topic for me. Another book, of course, I'd recommend is Eating on the Wild Side, which really illuminated me to how foods are being, bred for certain characteristics that are usually not their nutrient density quality or their antioxidant and different plant compounds. They're being bred to travel long distances and be safe to ship and not go bad and not expire. So, that's why I recommend growing your own garden where you can get the maximum amount of phytonutrients in to you. So I hope that answers your question, gives you guys my perspective on this topic. The next question is from Rosemary Lavender 2222. Do you buy frozen bags of fruits? What's your opinion on them? So Rosemary, the answer is yes, I do buy some frozen fruits. And here's the thing, like I really don't like to buy frozen fruits personally. I like to buy fresh fruits as ripe as possible. I go to the farms every week and usually get about 20 pounds of produce, mostly fruits, every single week. I'll freeze some of it, I'll dry some of it, I'll eat a lot of it. If I have excess, I will freeze it for later in the season or later in the winter. That being said, I do buy select frozen fruits that have high nutrient density and have greater health benefits that I would not otherwise easily able to get in that season. So for example, while I may buy cherries organic, in season I'll eat them all and spit the pits out, right? Off season, I'm buying frozen organic cherries that are pitted from Costco in the big bags, and using those in my smoothies because they have the rich in anthocyanins. They're so good, they're tasty, I love them, and they're good for us. Another frozen fruit I'll buy are frozen wild blueberries, because frozen wild blueberries that are pesticide free from Trader Joe's, some Costco's on the East Coast also may sell them, are really high in polyphenols and definitely anthocyanins and good for you, right? Other frozen fruits I may buy, I get the frozen dragon fruit, the purple dragon fruit from Costco when they have it. Other than that, I don't really try to buy a lot of frozen fruits because I try to get the produce fresh. That being said, if I see a frozen fruit that I'm unable to buy fresh, then I'm likely to buy it, especially if it's high nutrient. That being said, I don't just go out and buy frozen mangoes or frozen pineapples or frozen, other fruits, generally peaches or whatever like that. I don't usually buy those because I'd rather eat those fresh, and then I do freeze fruit, so I normally freeze bananas when I have ripe bananas that are going too ripe. I'll freeze them, and then I'll blend the frozen bananas up with fresh, stone fruits, like peaches that are in season to make a green smoothie or a fruit berry smoothie. I think that frozen fruits could be great. And, everybody wants to make the analogy frozen fruits are always riper than fresh fruits and blah, blah, blah. And this is better than that. And my, what is bigger than your new what, what. So, what I'll say is this, it really depends. Man, if you guys got a tree, you're growing your own fruit trees, you pick them when they're optimally ripe, that's better than any kind of frozen fruit, right? You're getting fresh fruit at the store, and the stone fruits are picked too early. They're hard. They never ripen up. But then you could get frozen peaches that are a lot more riper and then, frozen and taste better, right? Then they're better. So, that being said, I would encourage you guys to focus on the frozen berries the most, since they're most cost effective and most nutritious for you. Otherwise, I would recommend freezing your own and vacuum sealing them. Vacuum seal them when you freeze them. Link down below in my Amazon shop where I share the, Ziploc vacuum bags that you guys can use to freeze your fruit in so that they don't oxidize, you don't lose nutrients as they're being frozen. I'm also many times weary of buying frozen fruits because I wonder, were these in the frozen chain the whole time they're in shipping, or at some point did they thaw out and then refreeze, which then it drastically lowers nutrition in the frozen fruit. Plus, I don't want things that are, that were frozen and then got unfrozen and then refroze again, because there could be some kind of bacterial contamination or something happening, and the quality is just lower. So yeah, do the best you can, guys, and yeah, if you can't get fresh fruit, man, eat some frozen fruit. It's probably gonna be good for you. All right, next question is from Fig Tree 393. Just got a Wheatina juicer on Craigslist. Wheatina Sundance, where is the best place to buy wheatberries? All right, Wheatina Sundance, man, that's old school. They don't make those anymore. But yeah, the best place to buy wheatberries, you could get hard winter wheatberries at your local health food store. They sell them in the bulk bin, so those will grow the wheatgrass, of course. That being said, the best place that I recommend these days to buy the wheatgrass is from gotsprouts.com. They basically went out and bought all different kinds of wheat seeds, grew them up, and then juiced them and tasted them to see which one had the best flavor, right? And they have a commercial wheatgrass business where they sell, cut wheatgrass and sell flats of wheatgrass in the Florida area. They'll ship you fresh wheatgrass, and they'll also ship you guys the seeds that they use to grow their high quality wheatgrass. So that's what I'd recommend. Got Sprouts. All right, next question is from Jelly Bean UI4FJ. Do you ever eat sprouted lentils or sprouted buckwheat groats? So the question is, do I ever eat sprouted lentils or buckwheat groats? Yes. So I do sprout buckwheat groats when I could get fresh ones, which has kind of been a little bit more challenging lately. Sometimes they never seem to sprout, so I wonder if they've been heat processed. But I do like to include sprouted buckwheat maybe like once a month. I probably should do it a little bit more than that. And then as to sprouted lentils, like if I go somewhere and they have sprouted lentils, I'll eat them, but I rarely sprout them myself. I should be sprouting them myself, and it's one of my goals to sprout them myself, but I don't currently sprout them myself just to time constraints. I mean, if I had a partner, I would like put her in charge of the sprouting and the microgreen stuff so I could eat more of those, and I'm glad to deal with the outdoor garden, which is already enough work. I might eat some things that are sprouting up in my garden, like little microgreens and stuff, but generally I don't grow those myself, although I do grow the sprouted buckwheat, which I enjoy a lot and is super easy. I could get it to sprout within a day, especially in the summertime. I personally cook my lentils at present time, and yes, it's better to sprout them and eat them raw than to cook them, but hey, I'm lazy and there's only so much time in a day. All right. Next question is from Texas. Do you use borax? What are some of your favorite remedies? All right, so borax. Yes, I use borax. I buy borax in bulk. I think I got it actually at, like, was it Costco probably? And I use borax for washing. Also, I use boric acid, and sometimes I'll substitute borax in to make an ant bait. So yeah, that's what I use borax for. And then I don't use it for me personally, though. And then what are some of your favorite remedies? I mean, remedies, I just eat food, eat fresh food. I don't know if I can think of any remedies. I like to try to get out of the mindset of remedies. And, healthy living will lead to a healthy life, and try to get out this whole remedy mentality. I mean, however, I do take some different herbs for different, situations and whatnot, but I try to just eat healthy and let everything else work itself out. All right, next question is from Bonnie Mullen 4990. What do you eat in the morning, John? Do you snack at night? If so, what is acceptable? What exercises do you do or suggest? Thank you. All right, Bonnie, so what do I eat in the morning? All right, first question. Generally, when I first wake up, I'll drink like a half a liter of water. And then after that, it may be like an hour or two whenever I get hungry. I don't usually eat right when I get up, although sometimes I do. And then I always try to switch it up, right? So I've been on the path where I've been always drinking a juice in the morning. That being said, these days I'm trying to switch that up and sometimes eat oatmeal and sometimes eat fresh fruit. I'll rotate between those three different things, usually a green juice, an oatmeal, or fresh fruit. Of course, in the oatmeal, I put fresh fruit and berries as well. So the next question is, do you snack at night? So I don't know what you mean by snack at night. So like, do I get up when I'm sleeping and then go and have a snack? Absolutely not. So, I have a night routine where I'll eat my dinner, which may be raw and then maybe something cooked. And then after that, I try to just like stop eating, and then I don't make any snacks after I eat my dinner meal. Sometimes my dinner meal comes a bit later than I'd like. So I don't try to generally snack at night. I will snack, however, in the day if I'm hungry. Like I just had some, cooked beans before I made this video. Before that, I had some like cotton candy grapes and a juice and some vegetables and a soup. So generally I don't try to snack at night. My goal is to stop eating at 9 o'clock p.m., which is a little bit late, although I do go to bed sometimes as late as midnight. I would like to stop eating a little bit earlier by 7. And, I would recommend you guys stop eating as early as you can and then go to bed as early as you can. This is one of my big challenges in life, that I tend to stay up a little bit too late, and I need to stop eating a little bit earlier as well. And then it says, if so, what is acceptable? So like, if you do get hungry at night after dinner, then maybe I would say you didn't eat enough during the daytime. You might want to increase what you're eating during the day, and then maybe even eating a little bit more at dinner so that you're not snacking at night. Snacking at night after dinner, definitely not optimal. I do not recommend it. I would say eat a larger dinner, and if you feel like you need to snack at night, I would say number one, just drink some water. Another tip I'll do is sometimes I'll do like some like probiotic mints. I have like oral probiotic mints that I put in my mouth that I'll like suck on, and if I'm hungry late at night, I'll put a probiotic mint in there, and yeah, it gives me something to kind of like quote unquote eat, but it's actually probiotics for my mouth, and we have some xylitol in there. I also sometimes will put like a beet powder or my nitric oxide tablets to enhance my nitric oxide. Is basically just like beet powder in a tablet that I take. It's my Neo 40, I think. And then the other thing is just drink water. And then if you have to eat something, right, I would try to drink a juice versus eating even fruit or something else, because at least that's going to digest better. The goal is you don't want to snack at night because you don't want things in your stomach digesting when you're sleeping, because then your sleep will not be as deep and it will not be as restorative, from what I understand. So the last question is, what exercises do you do or suggest? So I mean, I just do regular world exercise. Like, I don't go to gyms. I probably might want to go to gyms one of these days or have more regular, specific exercises. But I just get regular exercise in my garden. Like, I'll be carrying around 5-gallon buckets of water to dump out of my garden that I'm catching underneath my sink that's in my garden. So I just get exercise just in various methods. I'll carry big boxes of produce. When I go to the store, I usually don't get shopping carts. Shopping carts are for wimps. And so I like to just carry things and get strong that way. And also, if I'm pushing a shopping cart, you get stuck behind people, especially at Costco. But if I'm just carrying a big box of stuff, man, I could like dodge in and out of people, and it's a bit more efficient. Other than that, I like to bike ride. So like, I need to get out my bike and bike ride in the mornings or the late evenings sometimes. I mean, I definitely recommend exercise. It's definitely good. My favorite exercise is actually hiking and walking. So I like to just, go on long walks with Oakley, my dog, and I like to just go on hikes in the desert, actually. Red Rock is one of my favorite places to hike. All right, so the next question is from Frankie Bula 6867. Do you eat daylily tubers? All right, Frankie, so I tried to eat them once many years ago when I grew daylilies, and I tried to eat tubers raw. Back then I wasn't out heat processing foods, and I can't say that they're necessarily good. That being said, I'd like to revisit that and try them again. There's lots of different tubers that can be eaten if heat processed and can be quite good. Also, they're probably really good in resistant starch as well as fiber that can feed our microbiome. All right, next question is from AZZZZ online. Tried non-dairy, dairy-free kefir and it tastes awful. Couldn't drink it. Is there a way to make non-dairy, dairy-free kefir taste good? That's a good question. So number one, I'm going to say it's an acquired taste. Yes, it does taste sour. That's part of the lactic acid that's being produced by the bacteria that you will be consuming. So, I would say that you could, I add it to my oatmeal. So I use like the kefir as the quote unquote milk for my oatmeal that I make. So I'll mix it in that way, and then I'll just put in, date powder, and I'll put in cinnamon, and I'll put in berries and some cut up bananas in there, maybe some raisins, maybe some walnuts or something, chopped walnuts, and then I could eat it that way. I mean, the other thing you could use, and the other thing I've done, is I'll use that to blend into a smoothie and then just mix it with fruits. You could also just mix up fruits into the kefir and then eat it. Maybe that'll offset it for you. You could flavor the kefir, with date sugar, which is basically just dried powdered dates, or other sweeteners. You could actually add it to different salad dressings. I mean, mainly you just need to kind of acquire a taste for it. Like, I think you will get to like it, and I would recommend trying a different brand, or maybe trying a ferment that's not quite as long. The longer the ferment, the more hardcore it tastes. The shorter ferment, the more, softcore it tastes. Not going to taste quite as hard and quite as sour, and that's what your body may be rejecting to, because you're not used to it, because maybe you've just been eating all these fruits and they're super sweet, and you've lost the sense of loving the sour of foods. All right, the next question is from Fernando Almanger III. Where do we get cocoa pods? So yes, for cocoa pods, I recommend Jean Marie Chocolate in Puerto Rico. Link down below to the video. If I remember, where I visit the farm, show you guys how they grow their cacao. They'll basically pick cacao pods fresh off the tree and send you guys fresh cacao pods anywhere in the USA, maybe except for Hawaii, for one low price delivered. And it's actually quite rare, or it's unheard of to be able to get cacao pods. I wish I could do this when I got into raw foods back in the day, right? Truly raw cacao with the fruit as well as the seeds and the conch that could be good and rich in fiber and dehydrated and powdered up. All right, next question is from Valentine Auto 1099. How are those supplements part of a natural lifestyle? I don't take supplements and eat mostly fruits and some greens occasionally. So I'm not going to claim that supplements are part of a natural lifestyle. I will say that how do you define natural lifestyle, right? I mean, do we even live in a natural lifestyle these days as airplanes fly over me, as cars drive by, and as, fumes come out of the tailpipes and how all these pollutants in the world? You probably live in a house, you're watching this on your cell phone or your laptop or your computer or a tablet. How natural is that, right? So if you're living in a cave in the middle of nowhere, and fishing in the river and harvesting wild fruits out of the jungle with no internet connectivity, you don't have any Wi-Fi or cell towers near you, I'm going to say that's a natural lifestyle. And if you want to live that lifestyle, more power to you, right? People that lived natural lifestyles way back in the day, they didn't have long lifespans. So basically, if you live a natural lifestyle, in my personal opinion, you won't live as long, but maybe you'll be living a natural lifestyle. So it really comes down to, for me anyways, what's more important to you? Hey, take a supplement if you are found to be deficient after getting a blood test, for example, in vitamin B12, for example, or maybe some people like to take things preventatively, which, that is a decision that you will have to make. I definitely believe that you should supplement to avoid deficiency. And if you have a deficiency, supplement just for insurance. That's a whole different slippery slope that you could get on. Some nutrients maybe are right to supplement in small amounts, and some other nutrients supplemented could be devastating. And there's very little regulation in the supplement industry. So it's definitely to be good to proceed with caution. So I think that's what it comes down to, man. If you guys want to live a natural lifestyle, go for it. Live however you want. And I'm not going to claim supplements are a natural part of a natural lifestyle. If you've checked lately, the way we live in this day and age definitely ain't natural. All right. Next question is from Miami Beefly. Can you make a video on pros and cons and best uses of a freeze dryer? All right. So I hope to make freeze drying videos soon when I find the manufacturer that I'm going to work with in Idaho. Hopefully they'll start having units available in December. They're currently sold out. There's currently 4 manufacturers of freeze dryers in the US, and one of them, due to a legal agreement, I cannot discuss or talk about. That being said, there are pros and cons to freeze dryers. The main pro with the freeze drying is that you can store your food for a really long time, up to 25 years. The other thing is that it keeps the most nutrition. The con is that they are quite expensive to buy, and the cycle time can take a long time. Generally, cycles could be from 40 to 50 hours to basically freeze dry a batch of food, which is definitely a lot of time. So it takes more electricity than, say, a dehydrator, for example. That could be done in a shorter amount of time. Another pro is that the freeze-dried food tastes amazing. It's nice and crunchy and has a texture like basically you're only going to get with fried foods like potato chips. There's no other method of drying on the raw vegan lifestyle that can give you basically crunchy chip textures, while still maintaining its raw state, because it does not collapse all the cell walls like dehydration can. Of course, there's another con as well, is that freeze-dried fruits specifically are, in my opinion, addictive because they're just rich in sugar. With the water removed, the flavors, sensations are amplified. I don't know, they're just insane. So they're just so delicious. And my problem when I got into freeze drying was that I would overeat freeze-dried fruits, and I would just think, oh, fruits, they're good for me. I could eat them freeze-dried and eat as many as I want, and then I gain weight. So I don't want you guys to get into that predicament. If you own a freeze dryer, then you're more likely to eat more freeze-dried food, of course. I do encourage you guys to freeze-dry your vegetables. Predominantly, I like to make salads from my garden and then freeze-dry them so I could have them for later when I'm traveling, camping, hiking, or just in case of emergency in a pandemic when you can't buy food. So yeah, the best uses of a freeze dryer, I would say, are to prepare whole meals so that you can freeze dry them and have them at a later date and time, whenever you need them, whether you're traveling or you're not able to buy food for some reason, or there's a zombie apocalypse. All right, last question is from Megan Ginger 3791. Maybe a what you eat in a day microbiome version. How do we test our biome? Is there a test you use? All right, so what I eat in a day microbiome version. So basically, It's very unique to you on how you're going to eat based on your microbiome. You're going to first get a microbiome test. Link down below to my video on how I did a microbiome test through Ombre Labs, and then downloaded the data and then re-uploaded the data to Biome Site. Once you re-upload the data to Biome Site, then you could kind of see what Biome Site will recommend to you as the foods that you should start including maybe some supplements if you choose to do that, including some prebiotic fibers if you guys choose to do that as well. And then what you want to do is you want to focus on increasing the foods that the Biome Site recommends to you and decreasing the foods that Biome Site also recommends you decrease, because that way you're eating for your gut buddies, right? If they're telling you to stop eating a certain food, like if they're telling you to stop eating pineapple, for example, right? There's probably gut buddies and bacteria that you have that may be overgrown because pineapple feeds those specific bacteria really good, but then they tell you to eat, Jerusalem artichokes for the inulin content that feed different bacteria that you may have only in small amounts. So I'm not going to tell you guys how to eat for your microbiome, but what I will tell you is that you guys should get tested and see where you are at. Now, what I'm going to tell you for what I did to eat for my microbiome is I took the recommendations into consideration. I took in some different kinds of probiotics and prebiotic fibers, as well as shifted my diet a little bit to include less of certain foods and more of other foods. I continue to refine and always experiment, and I'm glad to say that I've done 4 tests now. My first test, I was in the 700 range of diversity, maybe 750. My third test, I was up to 850 diversity, and my last test, I was up to 950 diversity. My goal is to get over 1,000 diversity, and of course, once I get the diversity up, then I want to kind of get my microbiome more balanced out to have, less overgrowth of certain bacteria that I have overgrowth in, which at present time is a Provotella. And I want to work on getting my Akkermansia and bifidobacteria up that, in my opinion, are quite important. So hope that answers your question on microbiome and why you should get tested, so that you guys know what you need to do for your specific microbiome, because everybody has a different microbiome. All right, so that's it for this month's Q&A. If you guys enjoyed this month's Q&A, hey, please be sure to give this video a big thumbs up. More importantly, also be sure to share this with other people you think it can help. Also be sure to click that subscribe button right down below so you don't miss out on new and upcoming episodes that come in every 5 to 7 days. You never know where I show up or what you'll be learning on my YouTube channel. Make sure you click the little bells to get notified as many videos come out. And finally, be sure to check my past episodes. The past episodes are a wealth of knowledge. Over 750 episodes at this time on this channel dedicated to teach you guys all about how to eat a raw, plant-centric, fruit and vegetable-dominated diet. So with that, my name is John Kohler with OKRAW.com. We'll see you next time, and until then, remember, keep eating your fresh fruits and vegetables. They're always the best.